and I always make a comment like, oh, you know, do you want to call me later? Maybe you're busy right now. And they're like, no, it's fine. I'm just on the bus. And I'm just like, exactly, you're on the bus. 皆さん、こんにちは。スクイシートークへようこそ。Okay, in today's video, we're going to be talking about 5 ways that Japan changed me. Because it did. If you like videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Okay, number 1, bowing. I'm pretty sure most foreigners have experienced this. I experienced it even just spending 2 weeks in Japan. So for my first trip here, I knew that you had to bow to people. I knew that it would be weird to just like run up and hug someone the first time I met them, and also to shake hands with people. I know that bowing is the culture here, but nobody ever tells you how addictive it is. Because once you start bowing, you cannot stop. And to be honest, I think I prefer it to, you know, the Western style of greeting people. I don't really like physical contact all that much, so bowing is actually better for me. But anyway, I incorporated it into my routine, and then it forever became a part of my routine. Yeah. So even when I went back to the UK after this short 2-week trip, I could not stop bowing, and it wasn't just me. My best friend had the same problem. She even called me one afternoon laughing because she had just bowed to her pharmacist and he was pretty shocked. So yeah, definitely is something that's addictive, and I think now after living in Japan, going back to the UK, I might be bowing to some people that don't expect me to bow to them. But yeah, like I said, it's just not what we do in the UK. We typically shake hands, hug, or just awkwardly say hi if you're me. I kind of just stand there like, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm an awkward person. So if you ever meet me in real life, I apologise in advance. Alright, number 2, talking on public transport or talking on the phone. Public transport. So in the UK, there are pretty much no rules for public transport. I'm joking, it's not that bad. But basically there are rules, no one really follows them. So you can definitely talk on the phone on public transport, you can talk to your friends, family, whoever. Obviously people would prefer it if you weren't loud when you did this, but you can do it, definitely. It's not frowned upon. If you answer your phone, no one's going to give you a look like, what are you doing? No, it's completely normal. And in Japan, it's not. It's considered rude if you're talking on the phone on public transport or if you're talking really loudly on public transport. And I like that. I like to sit on a train and enjoy the peace and quiet. Who doesn't? Especially if you've just gotten up really early and you're not fully awake yet and you're on that crazy commute in the morning. It's nice for there to be a bit of peace and quiet. I don't think anybody wants to hear someone talking loudly on the phone at that time in the morning. But anyway, yes, I prefer that. I like it. And I'm sure most people prefer things to be that way. But yeah, when I go back to London and people are talking loudly on the phone, I have like no patience for it anymore because I'm just not used to it. And even if I have a relative or friend call me from the UK whilst I'm in Japan and I can hear that they're on the bus or the train, I get really uncomfortable, like secondhand embarrassment. And I always make a comment like, oh, you know, do you want to call me later? Maybe you're busy right now. And they're like, no, it's fine. I'm just on the bus. And I'm just like, exactly, you're on the bus. And they just don't understand what the problem is. But hey, cultural differences, I suppose. Okay, number 3. Cleanliness. Alright, if you've ever been to Japan or you're someone that lives here, you may or may not notice that Japan is a really clean country. Even big cities like Tokyo are really clean, especially if you consider how many people actually live and work here. It's pretty crazy, and honestly, as soon as you land in Japan, it's something that you immediately notice. But unfortunately, when you get used to such a high standard of cleanliness, anything less than that is completely unacceptable, at least to me anyway. So the first time I went back to London after living in Japan for a while, I remember feeling very irritated and disappointed at how dirty London was. And it sucks because I don't want to say that my city is a dirty place. No one wants to say that about where they're from, but certainly if you compare London to Tokyo, London is dirty. Like, don't get me wrong, if you've never been to London, there are some really nice areas, but you will definitely notice that it is not as clean as Tokyo. It's kind of strange, but it's not bad. Listen, I feel like I have to defend it now because you can't really call a place dirty and then expect people to think about it positively, but I promise, London is a really, really great city. It is just not as clean as Tokyo. That's it. Okay, so number 4. Food preferences. Now, I talk about food a lot on this channel and there is a really good reason for it. It's just because food in Japan is great, but also it's just so different. Definitely, if you compare it to British food, it's completely different. The problem with this is you kind of get used to a certain way of living. So for example, when I first moved to Japan, going shopping, nightmare. Complete nightmare. I didn't know what to get, what to buy, what's a good price for what item, am I getting ripped off? What do I even make? That was the other thing, like with these Japanese ingredients, what can I cook with that? These days, obviously, I'm used to it. I know exactly what I can make. I know when something's expensive. I know when I'm getting a good price for something, and I am in the zone. So if you want me to cook for you, no, I'm joking. I get really stressed when I cook. But anyway, when I went back to London the first time after living in Japan for a while, I was lost. I went to the supermarket and everything just looked like I'd never seen it before, honestly. Everything I knew about British food just kind of disappeared out of my head. I didn't know what to buy, I didn't know what to cook. I ended up just staying in this really small aisle that we have in my local supermarket where there's just a few like small Japanese items. I lived there. I was just buying like Japanese curries, soba noodles, yeah. And then other than that, I think I pretty much lived on Uber Eats. I just didn't know what to make. I had no inspiration. I couldn't remember any British recipes. I felt really stuck and Uber Eats just felt like the safest choice. And actually that's kind of another difference too. Uber Eats is super popular in the UK because we've had it for a while. If you don't know what to make, use Uber Eats. All right, so finally, number 5, chopsticks. In the UK, we don't use chopsticks. It's as simple as that. We don't. A lot of people, I would say, don't even know how to use chopsticks. I think the younger generation is definitely better just because they're more open-minded, and London in particular is very multicultural these days. So you typically have friends that use chopsticks regularly and you kind of learn from them, or you know someone that's traveled a lot, so you kind of pick it up. But when you're using chopsticks all the time, to suddenly switch to using a knife and fork for everything is so weird. Like, obviously in Japan, there are some meals that you use a knife and fork for, but then Western people only know how to use a knife and fork and not chopsticks. But anyway, once you get used to eating with chopsticks, when there are no chopsticks around, it just feels so weird. Definitely, definitely weird. Like, you'll be eating noodles and you'll be like, I'm using a fork? Then isn't this just spaghetti? But it's noodles, it should be chopsticks, and your mind just goes... At least mine did. So now I make sure that I have chopsticks at my house in the UK. Definitely something I needed to adjust to. Okay, so that is it for this list. Let me know what you guys think. Did any of this surprise you? Is there anything that you think would have more of an effect? But yeah, let me know in the comments section below. As usual, if you like videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.